Saw this article getting shared around and discussed in gaming circles today. Headline over at Bounding into Comics saying, Kingdom Come Deliverance series director claims AAA studios are really terrified of internet critics like Asmongold and the Critical Drinker. When somebody starts to critique the game in the corporate world, it does have an impact. According to Kingdom Come Deliverance duology director Dan Vavra, contrary to what the overall industry would like the public to believe, the criticisms leveled against both the video game industry and its current output by such large online critics as Asmongold or the Critical Drinker are having a definitive impact on multiple AAA developers. An industry veteran who previously served as the lead writer for the first two Mafia games before going on to co-found Warhorse Studios and create the aforementioned Czech history-centric action RPG series, Vavra revealed this information during a long-form interview given to the, that podcast. I'm not going to try to say that one. As hosted by the independent Czech network Vox TV in April of last year. Flying under the radar in English-speaking circles due to the fact that the discussion took place entirely in Czech, a video of his appearance was recently shared to the R. Asmongold Reddit community, where it was subsequently picked up by the YouTuber and shared during one of his live streams. We can see that video right here titled, Corporations Are Scared of Me. I love this thumbnail Asmongold and title, dude. It looks diabolical, but that's like in a good way, you know, not like in an evil way, like Corpos. It's not good for Corpos, but it's good for gamers, sort of way. You know what I mean. Per a translation of the interview provided by that Reddit user, following a discussion about the long-awaited and soon-to-release Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Vavra told his hosts, quote, "Listen, I've even heard that their big developers / companies are really scared of quote-unquote hate-tubers. Let's say the kind of guys like the Critical Drinker and Asmongold and others who started criticizing big companies." So the quote-unquote hate tuber thing, is that what these like alleged corpos are saying? Because that's hilarious, bro. Oh no, they're criticizing our corporation. Those hate tubers, how dare they? And pause plus side note, look at this gameplay, dude. I set my turret up next to the wall and it freaking like put me having half the turret mixed into the wall. It's so messed up. I thought it was so niche, he explained. Okay, he's Asmongold, got like a few million followers. His videos have some impact, but it's definitely not what everybody is watching. And now I found out from some people that companies are really terrified of them, and it's really having an impact. That when somebody starts to critique the game in the corporate world, that it does have an impact. Well, yeah, absolutely. That's why I've had in my Twitter bio for ages, Twitter cops and corpos fear me. I mean, they do. They're terrified of us. They gotta remember that us gamers, they need us. We don't need them. Most of us could live never buying a new AAA game ever again. We could happily play the old games in our catalog indefinitely. And I'm not saying that like people can't be excited for new releases, but the point is like we don't need those new releases. And on the other hand, these corpos, they need us to buy their products. Turning to offer his own critiques of the industry, Vavra then asserted, quote, "And it's unsustainable how these corporations do it, considering that they've now made games that nobody wanted." Yeah, there you go. And they even said it. When those gamers started complaining that they didn't like it and they didn't want that kind of game, the developers started telling them that they were stupid and it wasn't a game for them. Which is completely bizarre that you're insulting your own customers. It's not made for you. It's a game for the modern audience. You'll see. We'll show these chud gamers. They're gonna regret this. And then you fast forward some months and they're like, what do you mean I'm getting laid off? Why did no one buy our game? Offering his thoughts on the interview, Asmongold proceeded to let out his inner Spider-Man and admit that he feels a duty to use his apparent influence responsibly, saying, "I view this as a responsibility. I try to be as fair and critical as I can be and authentic. Now, sometimes this rubs people the wrong way. People don't like what my opinions are. That's fine. But at the end of the day, I'll do my best to be as authentic as possible, and so if you bring out a terrible game, there will be a YouTube video about it. Personally, I find that to be a great thing. Some of these games are terrible. None of us want to buy them. None of us would even play them for free, but we still manage to get entertainment out of it by laughing at it. It's wonderful." And really, that's all a consumer can really ask for of an internet personality like Asmongold. After all, after decades of mainstream gaming publications acting as mouthpieces for the multi-billion-dollar publishers, and publishing article after article on, quote, why a latest live service slop is actually great and you're a bigot for not liking it, players just want to have someone on their side and giving a voice to their concerns. To be fair, it is impossible to know just how far-reaching Vavra's insight into the industry is, and how many studios really are keeping their ears to the ground when it comes to online backlash, as he understandably declined to name any specifics regarding who, where, and how he learned this information. However, what is known is that Vavra's comments about quote-unquote insulting your own customers is particularly spot on when it comes to the video games industry's current culture. In fact, many studios outright dismiss player feedback and anything other than mindless optimism when it comes to discussing their next AAA multi-million-dollar project. On the note about confirming this information, there's an interesting post over on Reddit that says, here's a post made on Reset Era that confirms this narrative. So Reddit post about Reset Era post. Got it. Okay. So the Reset Era post says, I've been in the industry for a couple decades. Sure, I'm being a bit reductive, but I've seen it time and again the last couple years. It's not that the chuds directly impact sales. Unironically using chud. Yep, I think we all saw that coming. It's that they dramatically influence the consumer journey and greatly impact discoverability. If you're posting on this forum what some ill-intended YouTubers' videos are not going to have any influence on you. It isn't your primary source of information. It's not how you discover games. And you're already well educated. These people are so weird. So criticizing corporations, that automatically makes you a hate tuber, a chud, and ill-intended, right? But hey, if you eat the corporate slop, you're well educated, guys. That's what these people really think. Reset Era, man. A game will reach a set of its intended core audience, with or without social media discourse. But in today's day of quadruple A, sales needs due to costs, that's not really enough anymore. The core bases are so fragmented, there's so much choice and so many highly engaging games, that reaching beyond those consumers is never more challenging than it is today. Those consumers rely on social media and YouTube to discover a game. So now they're unironically using quadruple A, and they apparently don't see a problem with that. The problem is the people criticizing this stuff, criticizing these corporations. Like, this take is just getting worse and worse. It's making this apparent quadruple A corpo and all of the bootlickers of people like this look even more terrible than they already do. And if ill-intended content, monetized outrage, bandwagoning, grifting, etc. is favored by the algorithm, which it is, it's a massive uphill battle to even reach consumers with a message about your game that is intended or pure. Yeah, guys, please buy our quadruple A slop, please. Reset Era supports us, the modern audience supports us, why don't you? We don't run ads in our trailers and gameplay videos. We don't monetize our content. We monetize our games. But if people are making money off monetizing your content, there's money to be made outside of the gaming community for creators and platforms. They milk that stuff. It's hard to break through. It's hard to influence the narrative, and that indeed is what affects sales. You used to be able to sponsor content, not to influence sentiment, but at least to get a message through the noise. But these days, so many influencers have managed to sow doubt on sponsored content and media integrations, mostly because they were losing out on money. That sponsored content doesn't perform as well, and in fact, many creators don't even want to take deals now because they can make more trashing on the game anyway. So yes, when I, albeit without much nuisance, complain about chud or grifter content hampering a game's chance at reaching a larger audience, I'm just really tired of it happening again and again and seeing so many friends lose their jobs over it. Sad. Industry is struggling on how to respond to it, especially as gaming creators want to keep being inclusive. I don't think it's a winning battle right now. And the Reddit user who reposted this conversation from Reset Era says, it's afraid. So this is obviously a major win for gamers. And there's also like another win baked in here too. When they talk about at the end, not being sure how to deal with this stuff. That's especially amusing because their old tactic, which they still try nowadays and doesn't work, is, as you know, trying to get their gaming journalist buddies to prop these corporations up, to prop the games up, and to insult and smear the gamers. However, that strategy doesn't really work anymore. A lot of people don't believe these gaming journalists. A lot of them are no longer even in the industry because they got laid off. And ultimately, they brought that all on themselves. They didn't really have a genuine care about gaming. They instead tried to use the industry to make a bunch of money off in very disingenuous ways, what these people would call as grifting, actually. It would define them pretty well. And or use gaming to try and further their own political rhetoric. So yeah, they essentially ruined their own careers and ruined their own reputations by doing this very corrupt stuff. And that's where I'm going to leave this one for today. Hope you all enjoyed the coverage. Thank you so much for tuning in. Consider liking and or subscribing if you did enjoy the coverage. Appreciate you. Let me know what you think about this stuff, and I'll see you in the comments as well as in the next one.